Hey there, it's Dana Lapine. I am going to discuss my lesson plan over fiction versus nonfiction. This would be taught in an ELA class for 9th and 10th graders, going over the information literacy and critical literacies so that students can create, package, and present information effectively to a specific audience, as quoted in the Lanning textbook on page 7. So students are going to start by being introduced to fiction versus nonfiction and having them tell you their thoughts on what the differences are between fiction and nonfiction. They will be comparing and contrasting text passages between Andrew Jenks's journey and that of fictional characters. So using the knowledge learned between his story and the fictional characters, they're going to create their own short story that is based on a true event. In doing so, they will be able to use their devices that are school provided and the apps that are on it to use whatever platform they feel most comfortable with to create said story and either film it, turn it into a cartoon, turn it into a short film, or students that want to can simply write out or type out a story that they can read to the class as their assessment for this particular lesson. So once this lesson is complete, students should be able to infer meaning. They will be able to compare and contrast passages from fiction and nonfiction text, and then they're going to be able to write a fictional text based on a nonfiction event that they choose. Again, as I said, that can be read, filmed, and played for the class, however they feel most comfortable. So there are 4 stages to the lesson. This is going to be mostly taught by a classroom teacher. They will show a pre-selected passage from My Adventures as a Young Filmmaker by Andrew Jenks. Students will be able to follow along with their handout, then turn and talk about what they can infer from the passage, talk about what the story means to them, and then we'll do the same thing with The Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. And then they're going to fill out a Venn diagram, the big one in the front, and then the one that the students have at their desk to use as a reference for when they decide to do their own short story. Those stories will be allowed to, the kids will start to work on those stories while they're in class, whatever time is left in the lesson period. Whatever can't be accomplished in the classroom can be done during a free period, because this is high school, or at home for homework to be presented in class the next day. After all of the assignments have been completed and turned in, the students will do a reflection in their individual classroom journal about answering the questions: if you could do this assignment over, what would you do differently? And did this activity help you learn more than other activities that they've done, and why? I've put the book list in here, books that are based on true stories, everything from a picture book to chapter stories. And as I said, this is something that would be taught by a classroom teacher. Collaboration with the librarian is with the selection of books, space for students to record if they're going to do vocals for their stories, especially if the library has a studio space or a recording space. Informal assessments would be they talk to the librarian about recording or if they have questions about their actual assignment.